McCreary, Coach Ron Jackson. Yeah, I don't have my bill in front. Tip of the hat there. Oh, boy, Coach. How the heck are you, man?
Man, I'm all right. I got off to a little rough start this morning. I was, I was fixing my coffee, and
Yeah.
my wife's out of town, so
You had to fix your own
anyway,
coffee?
Yeah, and I don't really like the powdered cream that she uses. Well, anyhow,
Yeah.
I'm over at the coffee machine, and I accidentally knocked over my foot scraper into the coffee cream. So
Your foot scraper?
yeah, I got one of them pet egg things that I keep my feet looking good with, and when I knocked it over, all my foot clippings went into the coffee cream. Well, I don't like that coffee cream anyway, so I just left it.
Coach Jackson, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a little thing. You scrape it up against your feet, it makes it all silky smooth and all that stuff, but it collects up whatever it scrapes off. And then when I knocked it over into the coffee cream, it looks the same. So I thought, you know what, I just leave it.
Dang it. That sounds awful. That sounds like
Yeah.
the worst start of any.
Yeah. She won't find out till tomorrow. She don't get back till later on this afternoon, and then she'll drink that coffee tomorrow morning. I think I just dumped it all out and started over. But
Oh my God, Coach.
happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Oh my God. I want to tell you a story, but it is an unsavory story.
Well,
And I don't know if it's what the
YouTube
hell?
ready?
What the hell? You know, I worked in law enforcement, right?
Yes, sir.
And we got a call for a deceased woman, and she was in her 80s, right? And when we arrived, I showed up and with a young officer. His name was Gilbert, and he'd been around for probably about 6 months, right? 3 to 6 months. He was a young officer, and we show up, and it's a hoarder house. All right.
Is a what?
Hoarder, like the hoarder.
Oh.
They had a hoarder. Her and her husband were hoarders. So to get back to the bedroom, there was like a pathway of boxes, boxes and trash and all kind of stuff. A very, very sad situation.
Right.
And I'm not making light of that at all. Yeah. But, well, she apparently wasn't feeling well, and she got down off her bed and on her knees and was leaning against a chair on her knees. If you can kind of, and I don't know if she was praying, I don't know, but she was kind of, right? And she passed away in that position, right? Well, rigor mortis sets in, right? You get rigid. So when we found her and we had to move, we had to remove the corpse from the home. This is not a good FCS checkdown talk. I don't even know if I should finish. Okay.
I'm interested for whatever it's worth.
All right. So we have to move her down. And of course, she's in the position of, her, the way she was in, okay. So we pull her off the chair, and her arms are kind of up by her face, and her knees are bent, right? And so when her legs are in the air when you pull her over, because the rigor mortis sets in. Well, I didn't want her husband to come back there and see, because it's always, so you want to be sensitive to that. So I go out. The medical examiner sends somebody over to help to make sure, all up and up, and kind of make sure there's no, shenanigans going on. And she had medical issues. There was nothing suspicious about the death. And she had to be moved, but we couldn't get a gurney back because of the hoarder house. Right. So I said, listen, we're just gonna have to carry her out. We'll put her in a sheet, wrap her up, and then carry her out. But I want to make sure the husband's out of the way. So I said, medical examiner and new officer Gilbert, y'all will move her. She was very small. It wasn't like, so wasn't going to be an issue. So I walked out to the kitchen to talk to the husband, and I said, sir, we're gonna remove her. She is deceased. We're gonna remove her, and we're just to step outside and whatever, because we could get the gurney into the carport or whatever, and so he wouldn't have to see. And so as I'm talking to him, I hear this, ah! Right, and I'm like, what was that? And so they come bringing her out, and the look on Gilbert's face is very unhappy, right? And I didn't know what happened. They put her on the gurney, they get her in the ambulance, and off they go. And I was talking to Gilbert later, and I said, hey man, what happened back there? She's deceased, there shouldn't really be anything going on. And he's like, the medical examiner said, look, you get her feet, I'll get her head. On the count of 3, we'll lift her up and put the sheet underneath her or whatever. And he goes, 1, 2, and he lifts her, and her foot went in my mouth.
Wow. Wow.
80-year-old deceased woman's foot goes into Gilbert's mouth because when he lifted her up,
Wow.
Anyway,
yeah.
This is not a great story.
Yeah, you're right.
It is a football show.
Right. That's a good segue right there.
Foot. All right. Let's get in. We got a couple things in the news, Coach, and I just want to kind of go over. Brandon may join us. He got called in. 680 The Fan is the radio station here, major sports station here. Brandon has worked for them in the past. He's just moving back into Atlanta, so he's got an opportunity to go work with them this morning. So he may try and join us, but if not, we'll press on, no problem. But I want to talk about, real quick, before we get into our game previews, I want to talk about undefeated teams and winless teams, Coach, and any surprises that kind of stand out to you. I know kind of the two that we think are stand out for our undefeated teams, but I want to talk about the winless teams too, and just go through the undefeated teams right now are Montana, Tennessee Tech, Rhode Island, NDSU, SDSU, Lehigh, Presbyterian College, URTGV, Tarleton, and University of West Georgia. Out of all of those, who really stands out to you as kind of a shocker?
Probably West Georgia.
Yeah, me too.
Probably West Georgia. I guess second on that list would be Tennessee Tech, but I'd been following what Tennessee Tech had been doing over the summer and stuff like that. So that's not a super shock to me, but yeah, probably West Georgia. Now, I think out of the ones that you just talked about, probably the weakest of the, well, I don't want to say weakest, but the ones that's going to have the biggest surprise is UTRGV.
Yeah, I mean, their schedule is basically a Division II schedule, for the most part.
Yeah, which whatever.
Yeah.
And then probably after that, maybe Presbyterian. A little bit,
yeah.
They're a little bit surprising.
Yeah,
just to be undefeated. They've been down a little bit, and they've had a good win against a good. They beat Furman, I believe.
Yeah, they've had a couple good wins. Matter of fact, I'll pull up their schedule real quick. You know what? I should probably do it over here. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Undefeated teams. The Montana and the Tennessee Tech's not that surprising. Bobby Wilder's been a great head coach there. By the way, Virginia Tech fired their head coach. Bobby Wilder coached at Old Dominion. He knows the area.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, will Virginia Tech come calling Bobby Wilder for FBS Virginia Tech? We shall see. By the way, I've got a good group of fans watching in the on YouTube. If you want to comment, absolutely comment, like, and subscribe, and hit the notification button so you know when we go live, because we all have our different lives and schedules, and we don't really have a consistent schedule right now when we go live, when we do this stuff, but you'll be notified if you hit that notification bell as we start scheduling some shows. But yeah, if you got any comments or anything, definitely put a comment in the chat. That is great. That's why we're doing this thing live here. What I was going to do is pull up. Let me see if I can do this, Coach, without really screwing.
I probably need to tell some of the fans that are watching live today that eventually I do plan on getting a haircut and a shave.
But you're
My, my
waiting.
well, my issue is my favorite cousin is my barber, and he likes to talk a lot, and I like to talk a lot, and he works third shift at Amazon, so that don't really make for good consistency. But I plan, but hopefully by the next time that we show up, I plan to look a little bit better.
Well,
If
what
possible.
there? I thought there was something that had that you was going to be. You aren't going to
Yeah,
shave until.
when I coach these little middle school teams, I tell them I'm not going to shave till we lose.
Yeah.
So that was, but again, we lost a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
So the
Oh.
kids are asking me, hey, what's going on?
Oh.
And
Okay.
literally, like I said, I just can't get to my barber just yet. But come next show, I hope to look a little bit better.
There you go. All right, Coach. Let me frame you up just a little bit here in this little doohickey. Hey, can you see this on your screen, Coach?
Barely, but let me take these glasses off.
Yeah, this is the Presbyterian schedule. So they defeated Mercer, which was the number 11 team at the time, 15-10. Furman was a 39-38 overtime win. Then they had Erskine last week, 42-14. They got another. It's an NAIA program this week. So yeah, Presbyterian. They did have a tough schedule. There's no doubt about that.
Well, they'd be leading the SoCon right now if they were in their conference.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, they went non-scholarship just a couple years ago. All right, so undefeated teams, but here's the winless teams, Coach. I'm just going to highlight a couple that may be a little bit shocking. Eastern Washington, they were picked to finish 9th in the Big Sky. Idaho State, 7th. They've had a really tough schedule. They played some good football there. Cody Hawkins is doing a great job. UT Martin, Coach. UT Martin, picked to finish 2nd in the OVC Big South. Winless. All right? Winless. Morgan State picked to finish 3rd in the MEAC. Winless.
Good.
Holy Cross. Winless. Western Carolina. Winless. Samford. Winless. Coach, some teams there that you got to wonder what's going on there, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of think Holy Cross is one of the better teams in the that you're gonna face, and for that's a surprise to me. Not really surprised at Western Carolina being winless.
Yeah.
That's they got a lot going on right now, so I'm not really surprised that, but I am a little surprised at Holy Cross. I'm surprised at the amount of teams that are winless right now. I mean, you
me
just
too.
named off about 10. So that's a little surprising to me.
Yeah.
There was one you mentioned, but if you don't mind,
Yeah.
go through them first names again.
Eastern Washington, Idaho State, UT Martin.
Those UT Martin. That's the one I was thinking about because hey, listen, Jason Simpson, he's the longest tenured coach in the OVC.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been at Martin 15, 16, 17 years, somewhere like that. His son is the quarterback at Alabama.
Yes.
So maybe there's a little bit of divided. I'm not going to say that. I know Coach Simpson is putting everything that he can. I think he's had one upset, one upset loss, and he plays a pretty tough schedule. But
yeah,
that's surprising to me because listen, nobody does more with less than what he does. Maybe Tuke up at SEMO,
right?
But out of the ones that you said, UT Martin's probably the one that surprises me the most, just simply because of the respect that I have for Jason Simpson, and I know he does a fantastic job year in, year out.
Hey, Brandon Haddock just says, hey, love the program, guys. Love the UAC, and hello from Florence, Alabama. We're going to be talking about North Alabama. We got some news. Yeah, we got some news coming out of North Alabama. A couple of things that we'll talk about. First thing is Noah Walters. Remember Noah Walters, the quarterback for North Alabama back in 2023?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget him?
Yeah, he transferred to Central Florida last year, redshirted, didn't play a game. Coach, he has joined Oklahoma State and will start this weekend. He joined after the season started. Noah Walters, FCS quarterback from North Alabama. Pretty excited for that young man. He's threw for over 4,000 yards or whatever. He's got some good experience. They're really excited. It sounds like that he's going to get an opportunity there. So pretty happy about that for Noah Walters and an FCS quarterback that did some great things. Obviously, he had some ambition to go to Central Florida. Redshirted there. Not a great situation. Whatever the call is, and I don't know how this stuff, of course, they're kind of narrowing the transfer window. We've talked about that before. But he gets the call. Noah Walters added to the Oklahoma State roster. He will start this weekend. From what I understand, he will start this weekend. And Brandon, if you got any, Brandon Haddock, if you have any additional thoughts on that, please let us know. Noah Walters, man, good on you, man.
Yeah, well, and I think Oklahoma State's 0-3. They winless too, so he's going to get an opportunity to make an immediate impact. One of the things that I think if you look at him during the time that he didn't play, he must have been working out and must have been on a good weight program too, because he has really changed his body. He looks like a football player now, and so I wish him much success.
Absolutely.
And good for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oklahoma State needs to send North Alabama a check for plucking one of their players.
And by the way, actually, Oklahoma beat UT Martin 27-20. They lost to Oregon 69-3. And so that's an interesting thing. All right, so it's time. We're going to get into our previews here, Coach. And I got a little something special for you, and I hope this goes the right way. Take a look at this, Coach. We're going to look at Thomas More and Northwood Timberwolves, and here's why. I was absolutely thrilled to get a package in the mail this weekend, and a Northwood Timberwolves little what is this? Oh, here we go. Little quarter zip sent by a fan of the show from Northwood. And you know what? I went back to try and find out who sent it and how. I can't find out. I can't find out who sent it. So if you are the Northwood Timberwoods representative that sent me a nice, very, that logo's freaking awesome.
Sharp. Hey, that's what I was going to say. Their logo is top notch.
Yeah,
that Timberwolf looks good.
All right, they're 2-0 out of Midland, Michigan. All right, out of Midland, Michigan, they're facing Thomas More, the Saints, this weekend, and who is 0-2. They've actually played Dayton. Drayton. They played Dayton earlier this year. So, going to preview this one real quick. Undefeated Northwood Timberwolves. They're struggling Thomas More in a non-conference clash features programs experience very difficult starts for their 2025 program. Northwood enters the momentum with balance of 30.5 points per game, 364 yards of total offense behind quarterback Ethan Hamby and running back Devin Brown. The Timberwolves' passing attack features multiple weapons, including Case Boos, B-O-O-S, with 7 receptions, and Mitch Rivard with 4 catches and a touchdown, while their defense has had opportunistic with 4 interceptions, 4 sacks, led by safety Cole Simpson with 14 tackles. He's got 3 interceptions on the season, Coach, while Thomas More arrives in Michigan seeking an offensive spark after scoring just 3 points in total for their first 2 games, averaging 195.5 yards per game, with quarterback Griffin Scalf throwing 224 yards, but 3 interceptions. Man, you can't turn the ball over. Running back Eli White represents the best offensive weapons for the Saints. Thomas More and Northwood Timberwolves. Coach Jackson, I know you have no idea about these programs, but you know what? I thought I'd give him some love. Dustin Bauer is the head coach there at Northwood for the Timberwolves. He's in his 3rd season. Just based on the logo, man, the Timberwolves are going to roll on this one.
Dude, based on the logo, based on the way that field looks, don't get me wrong, I'd like for them to lose the track around the football field, but nonetheless, based on their program, I think they play in the GMAC.
They're I think it's mid-Atlantic. Oh gosh, I don't recall.
Somewhere in there, but
D2, right? D2.
Yeah, they have a lot of fun at that campus, and if you look through their sports pages and things, they have a lot of fun. They're gonna win by 30, 40 points.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough sledding for the opponent when they roll up in there.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think you're wrong there. Northern. Hey, thank you guys so much. I don't know if it came from the this thing. I don't know if it came from the equipment team or whatever, but thank you guys so much. Very oops a daisy. That's me. Join here. Do this. Oh, there we go. I have another computer sitting over here. I'm just kind of looking at some statistics. So yeah, all right. So let's go ahead and get into. Brandon Haddock mentioned sent a message about this next game that we're going to preview, and it's the North Alabama game there in Normal, Illinois. Let's take a look at what we got here. North Alabama comes in 1-2. They travel to Hannock Stadium to face Illinois State Redbirds. Of course, they're the number 6 team in the nation at 2-1. It's going to be an intriguing non-conference matchup. Two programs seeking momentum as the early conference schedules or non-conference schedules are winding down. Brent Dearman is the head coach for North Alabama. If you didn't know, the Lions roar into Normal after an explosive 49-21 win over Northeastern State that showcased their potent rushing attack, which ranks among the FCS best with 244 yards per game plus. UNA's ground game features three-headed monster led by sophomore running back Javion Allen, who's got 165 yards on the ground and 6.1 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Jalen Daniels also is a dual threat. He's got 154 yards on the ground. He's got 11.8 yards per carry. So when he goes, coach. He's also got a touchdown, and quarterback Destin Wade also gets in the mix as well. For Illinois State, the Redbirds enter with a 2-game winning streak after an impressive win versus Morehead State, 41-13, and Eastern Illinois, the Gargoyles, 42-30. Actually, they're Panthers, but their logo's terrible. Illinois State's balanced offensive attack has generated 28.7 points per game with quarterback Tommy Rittenhouse at the helm. He's got 402 yards and 5 touchdowns. Coach Jackson, we've been pretty critical of North Alabama. We know they've got a great fan base. They've got great facilities. They have a huge following coming into the FCS. North Alabama hit the ground running, but it's slowed down, and now you got to find some wins, and you're facing the number 6 team in the country. I'm really worried about this North Alabama team going into Illinois State. They got a great ground game. If you can run the ball and control the clock, I think that's your recipe for victory.
That'll be a recipe for success for them. Let me tell you, the Wade kid, I believe he transferred from the University of Kentucky. He's got a twin brother that's a good ball player too. Now I don't know where his brother went, but he's a quality addition for them. If and listen, I love North Alabama. I think they're a sleeping giant. I'm going to travel down there in a couple of weeks because it's just a couple of hours from my house and watch a ball game. If it was a barbecue off, North Alabama was going to win. I mean, if it was if it was a hamburger show or something like that, they're going to win. They would win in a hospitality contest. And I just don't think they're in for they're probably in for, man, I hate to say this, Brandon, because, he did comment on the show, but they're in for a rude awakening once they get to Normal, Illinois. What they're missing that Illinois State has is Illinois State's offensive line and defensive line is huge.
Yeah.
They're walking into a hostile environment. It's got to be. I don't know how they're going. I don't even know how they're going to get to Northern Illinois from North Alabama. Surely they're not going by bus, but wherever they fly into, they're going to have a 5-hour bus ride from wherever they land. It's going to be a tough game to travel. It's a tough environment to play in. Unfortunately, I really don't see it being all that close. If we're picking scores, I would probably say 27-10.
Okay. 27-10. Listen, if you get the ground game going for North Alabama, Illinois State's very, very good. They have not allowed a 100-yard rusher this year or 100 yards on the game for the team. You bottle up Rittenhouse, right? Your secondary's gotta improve and force a turnover. but Illinois State is pretty fierce at forcing turnovers themselves. Win the turnover battle, ground game battle, and time of possession battle. I think you're probably in a better position for a win. Otherwise, if you can't do that, I'm really concerned about their chances of winning, just because Eastern Illinois is a legit team. Now, can they stumble? Absolutely, they can definitely stumble, but we shall see. Brandon does ask, who do y'all think the UAC will expand with? There's all kind of change. Of course, the UAC or the ASUN and WAC was the original. What would you call it? The original UAC connection. And you know what? I don't know. Tennessee Tech is moving to the Southern Conference. I'm not so sure the OVC Big South is going to be around much longer. So I'm wondering if those teams might get picked for a UAC. UAC's got a better reputation than OVC Big South. I mean, am I wrong in that?
Now, UAC is probably the third, fourth toughest conference in the FCS country right now. And I mean, I don't know specifically, but I would guess UT Martin is probably your top candidate to join the UAC.
Charleston Southern might be another option.
Charleston Southern could be an option. West Florida is the one that people are rumoring about moving up and going ahead and joining. Now, again, financially, I don't know that they can do it right off the rip. They may end up joining the ASUN, come along in football a little bit later. Kind of a sleeper pick if you're looking for sleeper picks, could be Tennessee State. Tennessee State is probably not going to join an HBCU conference.
Yeah.
And I know they are kind of looking around, or I say kicking the tires anyway. And UT Martin and Tennessee Tech would be a good partner school. So that would be my outside, but I definitely think UT Martin. The other one, probably SEMO.
Yeah. Okay. I think that'd be good. I think they'd be good. If you're looking outside, Brandon just mentioned SEMO. If you look outside of the current FCS, I think Valdosta State is prepped to jump. Now, they play in a high school stadium. They do not have their own facility. So I know that there's rules, Division I rules, and I don't know exactly how that would work. They share that with Valdosta High School. If you know anything about football, Valdosta is, they call Championshipville or whatever they call it. So
North Alabama does the same thing.
Do they? Okay.
They play in a municipal county stadium. But don't get me wrong, North Alabama is about to chunk that thing and about to spend about $50 million on a brand new stadium, which again is going to set them apart from everybody. Listen, they are a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
When they get their proverbial ish together, they're going to be hard to handle.
Well, I mean, no doubt. And again, I think if you put it together there for North Alabama, the fan base is so passionate. And it's because they've had such success. North Alabama and Valdosta State had great rivalries in the Division II. So, you bring in a Valdosta State, I think that would be a huge addition to the UAC. We'll see. What you don't want, what you want to avoid is having these teams that you're going to have to travel past the West Coast type stuff. And it's just not there financially. You got to keep it regional.
Yeah, regionality is very important right now, and that's how college football used to be. But it's going back in that direction. Yeah, and so I think the UAC probably expands more southeastern wise. Now again, I don't know what that really does for the Texas schools that are involved, but eventually Tarleton's probably going to move on. The outlier in the UAC right now is Central Arkansas.
Right.
So maybe it's maybe you add somebody that helps keep them along, because that's another fantastic program that you don't want to see.
Well, the Big Sky and WAC have now joined, right? I mean, the big WAC kind of came back, and now it's kind of like don't know what's going on. But you've got Utah Tech and Southern Utah
Southern
joining the
Utah.
Big Sky, becoming full members of the Big Sky. Sacramento State's going to be bounced, next year. They're
Mhm.
whatever they are, independent, whatever the hell,
Yeah.
they're trying to do. But the Big South and WAC have come together and said, okay, we're going to now join Big Sky rather. Big Sky and the WAC have said we're gonna have an alliance, and bring some of those teams in. So those teams that
Yeah.
are in the WAC they'll still have UAC ties to it. It's going to be interesting how that whole thing plays out because you're literally coast to coast at that point.
Yeah.
And
Well, the way it looks to me, everybody will. The Texas schools aren't a travel issue. I mean, anybody can fly
right,
to Dallas, you can fly into Houston. The problem with the Utah schools is it's just you can't hardly get there. You're over 2 or 3 different time zones. It's just too tough of a trip. So everybody hates going there, and they hate going other places. So they found a good home. The Texas teams can go. The Texas
Sweet
teams
Elizabeth
can
says,
go
"What you
there.
up to?" And so I said, "I'm doing the pod." So I just a little pitch in
Oh,
there.
pause break for Sweet Elizabeth too. What a beautiful lady you got there, dude.
Yeah, so Brandon was mentioning, the UAC and the WAC is turning into the UAC in all sports. But, we shall see. And now there's an article on NCAA.com, and I think it came out this week, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I can't find it. But it talks about that the Big Sky and the WAC connecting somehow as well. So whether it's Olympic sports or whatever, it's all that leads to. We saw it with the ASUN and WAC. It was the AQ7, and they were literally separate, kind of like OVC Big South. It was literally an alliance with 2 separate conferences. UAC has come together as one conference, and so now you've got all kind of stuff going on. All right, yeah. So, Western Athletic Conference is fully rebranding as United Athletic Conference, and so.
Yeah, I think the Texas teams would rather play in the UAC.
I would think so.
I think that. Yeah, so Abilene Christian, I wouldn't. I mean, again, Stephen F. Austin was a part of that group, and then they've gone back to the Southland Conference. But anything past Texas is probably going to stay west. Tarleton eventually will move up, but I think Abilene Christian. I think Abilene Christian stays in the UAC, and hopefully they do because that does give Central Arkansas a reasonable traveling partner too.
Yeah, but you still have the problem of teams like West Georgia, whose budgets are minuscule, having to travel out to, Abilene Christian, Texas Arlington, Tarleton State. I mean, you want to keep it more regional. So it will be interesting to see how that whole thing pans out. I wouldn't be surprised if there's just going to be listen, I mean, there's going to be conference realignment probably because you might see teams like the lower end of the mid-majors push down, and then you have the Power 5 or Power 4 or whatever they end up making it. So you never know. But good talk, Brandon. That's awesome. Thank you for your input. So all right, moving on to our next game. We've got Youngstown State and Towson. Youngstown State 2-1. Head coach Doug Phillips hosts the Towson Tigers and Pete Shinnick, who's also 2-1. Promises should be a good non-conference matchup. Penguins bring in a potent ground game led by quarterback Bo Brungard, who leads the nation coach in rushing yards. He's got 426 already. He also has 142 rushing yards per game. He's also got 6 touchdowns on the ground for Youngstown State's offense. So it significantly outpaces Towson's production of 284 yards per game, especially in the run game, where the Penguins have averaged 236 yards per game to the Tigers just 83 yards per game. Towson countered with a more balanced approach directed by quarterback Andrew Endorf, who's a freshman coach, an absolute true freshman. So he comes in from Florida, I believe is where he's from. St. Thomas Aquinas. Endorf passing yards, 172 yards per game. He spreads the ball to the receivers John Dunmore and Jason Doss. They both have 2 touchdowns. The Tiger special teams could be a significant factor with the returner specialist Lucas Londano, who averages 28 yards per kickoff return and has already had a touchdown on a kickoff. Defensively, Youngstown State has been more opportunistic with a positive turnover margin. They're tied nationally, 5th nationally in that category. They feature playmakers Michael Wells, who's got 2 fumble recoveries already on the season, and Justin Wimpy, who's got a 1.33 passes defended per game. Towson's defense has shown playmaking ability of its own. 1 defensive touchdown on the season, a 3rd down defense that's pretty stout. The key matchups will feature Brungard's exceptional rushing ability against Towson's front 7, while the turnover battle could ultimately decide the contest. If the Penguins can maintain their offensive efficiency with a 93% red zone scoring and continue winning the turnover battle, they should be in line for a win. But this is another very, very tough matchup, in my opinion, Coach. Towson is no joke. We've seen Rhode Island roll in there and get thumped. Youngstown State now going in there. Thoughts on it? I know you love Doug Phillips and what he's doing there with the Penguins. It's a tough one. It's a tough one versus Towson.
Let me tell you, as much as I love Doug Phillips and what he's doing with the Penguins, I hate that logo that Youngstown State has.
Oh, you're one of the few then. Come on. That thing's awesome.
The block Y is the one I'm talking about.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
If somebody could explain to me how it starts out asymmetrical at the bottom, but then it gets a little heavy on the left-hand side, but not on the right-hand side, that's the corniest logo. That would be my vote for worst logo of all time right now.
That's hilarious, Coach. It is wonky. It's got to be some kind of weird font. Let me see if I can put that sucker back up in there.
When I look at it, I always just say, why?
Why? There you go.
Why? But back to football. Listen, they are as I think they're very prepared. Look, and I think it's a little downward arrow pointing.
I've never noticed. It is not asymmetrical.
Yeah. That stuff like that bugs me. But listen, they got a good team. Townsend's got a decent team. Townsend's going to compete. Plus, they got him at home. But I do believe at this point, Youngstown was. I thought they were going to be good last year. Took kind of a step back, so I think they've taken a step back to take 2 steps forward. I don't think it. To me, it's a game that probably the score won't be indicative to how not close the game was. If you're down by a couple of scores to Youngstown State, you might as well be down by 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
The way that they run the ball, the way that they control the clock. So, I think it's one of them deals. It's 24-10, 24-14, and it's probably not even that close.
Okay. I right now, I think probably Youngstown has the advantage. I have to dwell on that one a little bit before we do our official game picks. One of the key matchups of the weekend, it's a number 11 Villanova versus number 21 Monmouth in a key CAA conference showdown. It's Monmouth boasting the conference's most explosive offense, averaging 535 yards of total offense, 42 points per game behind quarterback Derek Robertson. By the way, his brother is the quarterback coach there at Monmouth. Pretty interesting. He leads the nation with 421 passing yards per game, 14 touchdown passes. Robertson's primary targets are Josh Derry, who has 119 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, and Gavin Nelson, who's got 3 touchdowns, while running back Rodney Nelson provides balance with the conference leading 108 plus rushing yards per game. Villanova counters with a more methodical approach, ranked 3rd in the conference in time of possession, averaging 32 plus minutes per game in time of possession. Quarterback Pat McQuaid has got 163 passing yards per game average, and running back David Avett 51 rushing yards per game. Not very strong in the run game. The Wildcats have been most disciplined team in the CAA, committing just 6 penalties for 44 yards, and don't think that stat doesn't matter. We've seen some real bad penalties late in games that harm programs, Coach. But the matchup is likely to be hinged on Villanova's ability to slow down Monmouth's passing attack. So we shall see what happens here. Villanova traveling into West Long Branch, New Jersey, Kessler Stadium for Monmouth, Coach. Should be a good matchup, a very, very tough one for the CAA, and this can tell you a lot. Villanova trying to go out of the CAA on top, and this is a big contest for them.
Yeah, Kessler Stadium holds a little over 4,000. They've already said it is sold out for Saturday's game, so you can expect a huge, huge playoff-like atmosphere there. Monmouth is bringing in they got a team. They got an offensive juggernaut. Villanova's got a terrific defense. They've got a little balance on offense. I think it's a little bit closer game simply because Villanova's going to have to travel to Monmouth to play. It's it'll be tough. I'll be interested to see how Villanova stops their passing attack. Now I think Villanova's got a kid that played last year that's may have gotten drafted, or he's on an NFL roster. So defensively, they're pretty good. I don't know that they'll put up enough points with Monmouth. So I think Monmouth's going to put up some. If Monmouth puts up 24, 30 points, they probably win the ball game. But I don't know that they'll be able to do that against Villanova's defense. But so to me, that's the game. I wish I could. I wish the game wasn't on Flow Sports so anybody could see it.
Yes, I was going to say.
Yeah. So the show is it's a playoff atmosphere. It's going to be a fantastic place to play, and it's Monmouth's offense versus Villanova's defense.
Kevin Callahan is the longest tenured head coach there at Monmouth. Coach, Monmouth, if you had to guess in the last 3 games, what do you think the Monmouth's record is against Villanova and their history?
1-2.
3-0.
Ooh.
They are 3-0 against Villanova. They've never lost. In fact, last year they won 40-33 in 2024. Now, I've seen Monmouth, and Monmouth finds a way sometimes to be that team that is rolling and then stumbles again in a game that people think that they should win. Now, this is 11 versus 21 matchup, right? We know the top 10 of the FCS is in a league of their own. Villanova, that 11th spot, and then down, very close. Lots of parity. We've talked about that. Coach.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game.
I think it's going to be a great game. The experience of Kevin Callahan, Mark Ferrente, the head coach there at Villanova. Mm-hmm. Man,
sold
this
out
one should
stadium.
be ESPN. Honestly, this should be ESPN2, ESPNU, whatever. Yeah. It's gonna be a fantastic atmosphere and game. We'll do our pick'ems later. All right, Coach, I got this one on the map because Dartmouth had a fantastic year last year. They're going to be hosting for the first time, opening up their schedule. It's the Ivy League getting into things. They're now going to be playoff eligible, and they're facing number 25 New Hampshire. This is called the Granite State Rivalry. And should be a good matchup. It's Hanover to travel from Hanover to face Dartmouth, the Big Green, in a non-conference matchup. 8-2 was what Dartmouth was last year. Of course, New Hampshire is rolling in at 2-1. They've got the experience. Grayson Saunier, who was the quarterback for Dartmouth last year, threw for 533 yards, 377 yards per game. He is got 8 rushing touchdowns. They lose Q Jones. I don't know if you recall us talking about Q Jones last year, but he is no longer there. So this Dartmouth team has a lot of turnover, but it's their first game. They're fresh. New Hampshire, they've played a couple games, 2-1. You got to wonder how this one plays out. Dartmouth's a pretty good program. They're at home. They're going to be fired up to get their season started. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, if you look at that D on Dartmouth, see how it's standing straight up and it's all asymmetrical. It ain't
Jeez.
leaning over to the right or anything
Right.
like that.
No, that's right.
Uh, Listen, Dartmouth's not bad. I'm always intrigued with Ivy League ball because it's kind of behind a curtain until they
Right.
decide to pull the curtains back. But it'll be tough for them in New Hampshire. Even though New Hampshire's coming over to play them at home, they really don't have what I'd consider a home field advantage.
Okay.
I wish the students would get out there and support them, and or get a little bit bigger crowd. But that's not going to be that's not going to be much of an advantage to them. Or I don't think it will be, and I don't think Dartmouth has quite enough on the roster to play with New Hampshire. But I don't, they'll fight them, but I don't. I really don't see that going in their direction.
Yeah. Brandon says Dartmouth has the best helmet in football. You know what? I'm not. I don't know that I could say.
Like
I don't know
two
that I could
stripes going
say
down the side.
that. Yeah, I don't know that I could say that. But let's see if I
Brandon's
can.
been in
Let
the
me see if I
sauce
can
this
pull.
morning.
I love it. I like Dartmouth football. Let me see. I don't even. It's just the D on their helmet.
Well, sometimes they have a little stripe, a couple of
You
green
know what?
stripes on them.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull this image up. Here, coach. Let's see here. Publish this. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
oops a daisy. Oh no, what have I done? Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. You know what, Brandon? I really can't argue with that. That's
It's
not.
certainly unique.
Yeah, and I
know?
like the green. Yeah, and listen,
Yeah.
I like to drop names. I coached a kid, Brady. I can't think of his last name, but he pitched at Dartmouth. I didn't even
Oh,
know
no
Dartmouth
kidding.
had a baseball. Yeah, didn't even know they had a baseball team. Uh, Brady Chappell, that's his name. Graduated last year. Yeah, dude, the Ivy League just got a bunch of the alphabet on their helmets for the most part.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I mean, it's the Ivy League.
yeah,
Got to know
yeah,
something
whatever,
about something. You know what I'm saying?
whatever. I,
Got to know
I,
something
I,
about something.
I like Dartmouth. I think in the Ivy League, they're still probably middle of the pack, maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit lower than that. So I don't expect them to give New Hampshire much of a fight.
All right. I believe you. All right, coach, are you frozen? I can't tell if you're frozen or you're
You
sitting
know
back or
what?
not.
It looks like I'm frozen, but I'm not frozen. It's a healthy 74 degrees in my house.
Well, your camera appears to be frozen, so I just want to say,
I'm not really sure what's going on there.
yeah, I don't know. It's all right. It's all right. There's nothing showing but your letters. Your very symmetrical NSCC
Hey,
Antioch letters on your
that's
ball cap.
that's great promotion for Nashville State Community College over at Antioch. So if you're an
Okay,
adult, we'll go back and get your education, finish up there.
that's where you go. That's where you go.
Yeah,
All
they
right,
don't have a football team.
I'm gonna put you in the green room just so you can see if you can figure this thing out here. As we talk about our next game that's up, this should be another good matchup, Coach. I'm really excited about this one because our friend Delane Fitzgerald is the head coach there at Southern Utah, and they got to get things going. And this would be a big opportunity for them to pick up a win. Southern Utah Thunderbirds, a future Big Sky opponent, facing UC Davis Aggies. 1-2 for the Thunderbirds, 1-1 for the Aggies. It's going to be a big matchup here. Southern Utah brings in one of the conference's most potent offenses, averaging 473 yards per game, 41 points per game, behind stellar offensive play of Bronson Barron, who leads their conference with the UAC with 279 passing yards and completing 66.3% of his passes, 7 touchdowns, does not have an interception, Coach Jackson. That's impressive. Thunderbirds rushing attack is equally formidable. Well, Joshua Dye had a big-time game last week. He's got 6 touchdowns on the year, averages over 6 yards per carry. You say something there, Coach?
No, I'm sitting here trying to. Technology's not always my friend, so I was trying to fix my camera, but
If you
not any luck.
Sorry. If you wanna shut her down, then call me back. That's fine, no problem. But just
Let me do that.
all right. I'm gonna pop you out of the green room, and then so he can call me back. All right, but let's go. The Aggies offense relies on Jordan Fisher, 58.5 rushing yards per game, 5 yards per carry, while Samuel Bato Jr. has 51 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, leading the receiving corps. Both teams have shown vulnerability, with Southern Utah allowing 34 yards per game, UC Davis surrendering 47 yards per contest. That's no good. The Aggies feature linebacker Rex Connors, who leads the conference with, here's Coach Jackson calling back in. We'll see what happens. There he is. Let me sign you there you are, Coach. Pull you back in here. Oops, daisy. There you are.
Yeah, I guess my computer decided I needed a haircut and just cut me off. I guess I don't know what happened right there.
Southern Utah coach Bronson Barron doing a fantastic job there. They got Joshua Dye on the ground. UC Davis's offense has been kind of all over the place. Their defense has been allowing a lot of points. This is an opportunity for Delane Fitzgerald to kind of ring that bell and say, hey, Southern Utah ain't going anywhere. Although we haven't picked up some wins this year, we are a tough football program. UC Davis still trying to put it together under Tim Plow. We love Coach Plow. He's been on the show. Think about here, Southern Utah and UC Davis.
You know, I wish the matchup didn't have consequences on the results. It's 2 fantastic games. I applaud Coach Fitzgerald for playing such a tough schedule, but right now, he probably, right now he needs a win, and their program needs a win. UC Davis, not so much. So I expect Southern Utah to play with a lot. Don't get me wrong. I expect UC Davis to bring their A game too, but I think the game is probably a little more important for Southern Utah than it is for UC Davis right now. And again, Southern Utah's they're solid. I don't care what their record says. You don't want to see them roll up into your campus.
Yeah, and like you said, despite their record, but Coach, you got to pick up some wins, right? I mean, you've got to find a way to pull it together and close out some of those games. It was a coach at the end of the Southern Utah Northern Arizona game. I think that's who it was. Yeah, Southern Utah has a chance to get the football.
Yeah,
with just a few minutes to go. Their kickoff returner basically calls a fair catch at the 2-yard line after it bounced or whatever, and they had to start at the 2-yard line and end up getting a safety. Those kind of fundamental things, and I can promise you they've talked about it this weekend ad nauseum.
Yeah.
You can't. That's a God, Coach. It's a example of what poor football teams do. Those kind of mistakes you do not see it in NDSU.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That is that's where I'm like, wait a second. There's something going on there.
Dude, you're absolutely right. The analogy that I'd like to use when it comes to college football is you got to knock the champ out. It's more like chess than it is checkers. So if you got 2 good teams, whoever makes the most mistakes, the first mistake, and sometimes it only takes 1 or 2 mistakes. You're not going to beat good teams making mistakes. So Southern Utah, and listen, I know they're coached well.
Yeah,
I know. I'll say it like this: if the young man has the opportunity to return a kickoff this week, I guarantee you he does not fair catch it at the 2-yard line. What you got to do is you've got to go. I
actually think it was, and to be fair to him, it was. I think it had bounced into the end zone, and then he took a knee or something. I don't exactly recall, but it was a between the ears mistake.
Yeah, just a mental mistake. I feel sure that the special teams coach and everybody they probably know every single rule when it comes to special teams right now. So, good for the young man for getting into a position that he's got to learn something. And, I think he took coaching really well. To make a long story short, Fitzgerald prepares a good team. They're good going into the game. They're going to be good coming out of the game, but they do need a win, and they need the win bigger than UC Davis does.
Well, I think if UC Davis wants to stay up in that conversation, then it's going to be a pretty big game for them as well. We shall see. All right, we got another ranked matchup to talk about here. Coach, should be pretty intriguing as UIW. A little bit of a disappointment this year so far. Clint Killow, their head coach there, is going to be facing Northern Arizona. A bit of a surprise at number 17. Brian Wright, the third-year head coach for the Lumberjack. Easy for me to say. The Lumberjacks. They're at J. Lawrence Walkup Stadium in Flagstaff, Arizona. It is an ESPN Plus game. UIW brings a heavy pass offense led by quarterback Richard Torres, who's completed 68% of his passes, which is 14th nationally, averaging 206 passing yards per game. The Cardinals' primary weapon is receiver Cheaton James, who leads the Southern Conference with 7 receptions per game, accumulating 249 yards and 3 touchdowns, complemented by Jamison Garcia and Josh Lorick. UIW struggled to establish consistent ground game, averaging just 60 yards, rushing yards per contest. That's 114th nationally. That's not good. While Northern Arizona counters with a more balanced attack, they're averaging 35.7 points per game, 410 total yards per game. Ty Pennington has thrown 799 yards, and I bet he gets to 800 this week. 799 yards on the season, 5 touchdowns while completing 67% of his passes. The Lumberjack features explosive receiver Colby Katzis, who leads the Big Sky with 97 receiving yards per game and a 19 yards per reception clip, along with running back Seth Cromwell has 4 touchdowns. Defensively, UIW has been more effective, allowing just 29 points per game, and NAU's allowing 39 points per game. Part of that slanted because of that Southern Utah game that was very high scoring. So we shall see. UIW's AJ Tisdale leads the way with 5.6 tackles per game, solo tackles per game, and Kendrick Stone has over a 1 tackle per loss per game clip. NAU counters with Travis Arena and Jalen Wesley. Some big-time turnovers for UIW has been a problem there in the negative turnover margin. NAU is a positive turnover margin. We shall see what happens here. We know turnovers are a big problem. UIW, coach, been a little bit of a disappointment. Lost that to Nichols. And now facing Northern Arizona, ranked matchup. They're that mid-level of the NCAA ranking. This should be a very, very interesting contest.
Yeah, it should be a good matchup. The UIW is they're really telling their own secrets. They're making it easy to beat them, to defeat them, because to me, they're just a one-dimensional team. They're just going to drop back and throw it 75 times a game. So literally, there's really nothing else to prepare for until they become a little more balanced. What's going to happen is they're going to win games by 30 points, and they're going to get beat by 15, 20 points.
Right. Not a great way to live, by the way. Not a great way to live.
It'll win you a couple of conference games, but it's not going to make you a deep playoff run. It's not going to get you to a championship. Right. They're a little bit better on defense. I wish they would put as much concentration on the running game as they need to do on that little logo where it just looks like they cut the bird's head off and that's it. As far as Northern Arizona, if they put a little more emphasis on the axe part of their logo, they could have a tremendous logo.
Yeah, but it's just the head of an axe, and it's a little tricky to use. But anyway.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see the logo that I use? I pulled their secondary logo in, which is this lumberjack dude.
Yeah, he's
pretty
that.
cool.
Yeah,
he's pretty
that.
cool. I think that's like their tertiary logo.
Yeah, he's coming for some business.
He's coming
like
for some
that.
business. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He may be missing a finger too.
One, two, three. Yeah, you.
He's a lumberjack coach,
and he needs a shave, and But listen, I hope that they show up like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
They'll need to.
I like they got a balanced attack. They're about dead even throwing the ball, running the ball. They play pretty good defense. To me, UIW will struggle against a team like that. The key to them winning is turnovers.
I agree.
If they can force UIW into 2-3 turnovers, and listen, UIW Incarnate Word don't really mind turning the ball over either. So I don't
know if it's not they don't mind turning the ball over, but yeah, I get your point.
you got to, dude. If you've thrown 3 interceptions, you still back there chucking the thing and haven't run the ball to set up anything. that just means, dude, I don't care if we turn it over or not. All we're doing is trying to score. It's not much of a game plan. It's just Madden football is kind of what that reminds me of.
I got you.
So if they can force 3 turnovers, Northern Arizona wins that ball game.
I don't disagree with you. Honestly, I don't disagree with you. I do like what Northern Arizona's doing. They're at home. That Skydome's tough to play in, and they say it's very, very loud when it's full.
Wood.
Yeah. So I hope that you'll see a very, very full stadium there for this game, because it's a ranked matchup, and honestly, They need to have a full stadium to have that 12th man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Next game up on the docket, Coach. It is Stony Brook and Lindenwood. I know we don't usually talk about these two teams, but Billy Kosh is the head coach there at Stony Brook, and they've done some good things there in conference. Jed Stugart is the head coach at Lindenwood. By the way, he's got a 41-40 record there at Lindenwood. So he's holding on to that above 500 clip for his career. And this one should be a good one. The Seawolves journey to Hunter Stadium to face Lindenwood Lions in a compelling non-conference matchup. As Stony Brook brings a ground-oriented attack centered around running back Roland Dempster, who ranks 10th nationally with 103 rushing yards per game and has 5+ yards per carry, complemented by dual-threat quarterback Chris Zealous, who is 139 passing yards, complemented with 45 yards on the ground per game. The Seawolves passing game features Marquez Dietz with 52. The receiver Marquez Dietz has 52 receiving yards per game, while their defense allows 30 points per game and 402 yards per contest. Linebacker Deshear Clary almost has a sack per contest. Defensive back Miles McGorry leads the way in their secondary. Lindenwood counters with an aerial attack directed by quarterback Nate Glantz, who tops the Big South OVC with 260.3 passing yards per game while accounting for 7 total touchdowns. Glantz distributes the ball to receivers Drew Crowbath and Rico Bond. That's a great name, by the way. Though the Lions' ground game has struggled on the season, they are effective through the air. Defensively, Lindenwood allows 27 points per game. Stony Brook and Lindenwood, it is going to be a huge matchup for Stony Brook to pick up a win on the road if they want to be in the conversation, Coach. Stony Brook, Lindenwood, again, we don't talk about these teams all that much, but I thought this was going to be a very intriguing matchup. I think Lindenwood is a program that's tough to beat. Stony Brook has had some very good last couple seasons, been in the conversation. What do you think?
Contrasting styles here. Stony Brook's going to run the clock. If it was up to them, if the game starts at 7 o'clock, that game would be over about 7:30, 7:45, because literally they're going to run the ball and they're going to play tough defense. Lindenwood to me is a little inconsistent on their offense. I think when I go back and look at their stats, it's huge stats one game, not so huge stats another game. So I'm thinking consistency might be the issue, and they had good stats last week, so maybe not so good stats this week against the Seawolves. So and then the third thing that I always look at is the logo.
Lindenwood's got some work to do.
That looks like a cartoon lion. The Seawolf right there is going to eat that lion on the right-hand side alive. The gray streak, the gold streaks in the hair, it's too much jaw in the lion. It looks like it looks a mess. So I think the Seawolves come in prepared. I think they're a little more established than Lindenwood. Lindenwood's going to have a tough time defending their home turf Saturday.
All right. Well, we're going to stay in Missouri and talk about SIU and SEMO, Coach, at Houck Field in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. This one should be another good one. Salukis 2-1 on the season. The Redhawks just 1-2. It's the War of the Wheel, the 92nd edition of the War of the Wheel, a regionally bragging rights. It's coveted with a wheel trophy that's given out to the winner. SIU enters with momentum, featuring a balanced attack that averages 34 points points per game. That's 16th nationally. They got dual threat quarterback DJ Williams, who's back and healthy, thankfully, who also thrown for 646 yards, 5 touchdowns. He has 165 rushing yards and 5 ground scores, Coach. He is really, really racking up. That is 10 touchdowns to my count, accredited to DJ Williams. The Salukis receiving core is led by Vincent Davis III. We talked about him a good bit last year. Jay Jones, Fabian McCray. While their defense has been exceptional, allowing just 15.7 points per game, they got a turnover margin that's in the positive. So that is all good for CIU. SEMO counters with an offense that's averaging 22.7 points per game. They are totaling just over 320 points per game. Jax Leatherwood, that big old quarterback, was 6'8", 235 pounds, 230-something pounds. He is their quarterback. He's got a 64% passing completion rating, 5 touchdowns for him. Receiver Cam Pedro is his primary target. The Redhawks defense has struggled, allowing 34.7 points per game and almost 500 yards per game, despite solid efforts by Landon Sylvie, who's got 5.3 solo tackles per game, and linebacker Sam Keeper, who averages almost a sack per game. Both teams have faced challenging conference schedules. SIU battled through a rigorous Missouri Valley Conference schedule. SEMO navigating the diverse offensive styles of the Big South OVC. This is a rivalry game. You never know what's going to happen, Coach Jackson. SIU, talking about logos, SIU and SEMO. I'm going to leave this up here real quick, Coach, before we bring us on. Just give me a rating on these logos.
I like the Saluki. I like him. I mean, don't get me wrong. It looks like a sock puppet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but the crazed bird of SEMO. One, dude, the red eyes with the little white and the black. I wish they would quit cutting the animals' heads off like that.
Yeah.
I'd have to give the logo advantage to SIU right there, but again, both bars are kind of laying on the ground right there. I don't really care for either one of their logos.
It doesn't do any favors that the SEMO bird is. He looks like he's on meth. Honestly,
yeah,
it does not. Now here's the logo, Coach, with the full bird. See if I can bring this thing in here. Let me move us over here, and there we go. So you can kind of see a little bit better. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby.
He looks like he's still on meth, though. But
yeah,
if
he actually has a meth pipe right there in his claw. No,
yeah. If they would open the mouth, your logo needs to be fierce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Open the mouth like you're about to eat your opponent or something like that. Make your logo fierce. Now, I do need to say this. I probably owe the good people at Carbondale an apology. Back earlier this year, I told you I thought that SIU was going to take a couple steps backwards. And it doesn't appear that they have taken a couple steps backwards. And that's what I get for doubting Coach Hill, because Coach Hill does a fantastic job with his team.
Nick Hill, the head coach there at CS. But you know what? DJ Williams coming back was a huge question mark. No one knew what he was going to be, if he came back. He had a bad injury last year. Coach Took there for SEMO. Thank you. Is sitting at 64-64. So he's at that 500 clip as well for win percentage. But no, I agree. I mean, DJ Williams is a stud. I think that SIU is probably going to go in there and going to show out against SEMO, despite what their bird is and despite what kind of narcotics he's taken. I think SIU is going to be the winner of this one. I think SEMO, it's a tough place to play. They've put a lot of money in that place. But I just think that DJ Williams is in a zone right now.
Roster-wise, Southern Illinois has got the advantage. Coaching-wise, I like Coach Took and I like Coach Hill. So both teams are going to be well prepared. If I were laying money on the game, obviously I'm going to go with SIU. But the schools are not that far apart. The ship wheel or whatever they are playing for.
The wheel.
Right. I've seen the actual trophy.
Yeah.
And dude, they take it pretty serious, and it really does not matter. It's an FCS matchup that really the records doesn't matter. The two teams actually hate each other. I would. It'll be a war. It'll be one of the better games to watch. Any other, if it wasn't a rivalry game, I'd tell you SIU should roll, but it would not surprise me to see SEMO have them on their heels and maybe actually, yeah, that's it.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, and they bring it to the game. I think they walk it over to the other team. It's a cool thing, and I'll tell you this: SEMO is very proud when they win the wheel.
Who has it now? Do you know?
I think SEMO's got it.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I think they have it, and again, now, don't get me wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think SEMO has it right now. It's going to be. It's kind of like it's kind of like the Alabama Auburn game of the FCS.
Wow. All right.
It really is. It's going to be I'd be surprised if it's not a hard fought game. It comes down to the very last play.
Yeah, I don't expect any of these rivalries. I don't expect them to be blowouts. I'm checking out the history right now. You are correct. SEMO beat the Sock Puppets last year 38-21. Wow, that's shocking.
Yeah.
It was 14 points in the fourth quarter that put SEMO over top.
Yeah, and again, if I remember correctly, it was another last second win. I think if you go look back through the history, most of them games come down to a last second win. That game is going to be it's going to be terrific.
Yeah, I'm looking at Paxton DeLaurent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is going to be the 93rd. I think I said 92nd meeting. This is going to be the 93rd meeting.
Paxton DeLaurent was there for 91 of them too.
He seemed like it, wasn't he? Let's see. SEMO defeated SIU for the third time in 4 trips to Saluki Stadium, so they're on the road. This was last year, and yeah, I don't see the last second whatever, but they scored 14 points there in the fourth quarter. All right, so we're well over an hour, Coach. Let's go ahead and roll through these next things. And speaking of logos, that they look a little
yeah, he's challenged.
So
yeah.
I refuse.
That bear's from Scottsville, Kentucky.
I refuse. I'm not going to delve into that one, Coach. I refuse to put the Mercer bear, the M logo that's got the hand-drawn bear in the middle of it. Yeah. This one's so much cooler, believe it or not, than the other one. So let's go ahead and talk about Mercer and the Citadel. Mike Jacobs, the head coach there at Mercer. Maurice Drayton, the head coach at the Citadel. Pivotal Southern Conference matchup. Mercer enters the conference's with the most formidable rush defense, allowing just 87 yards per game on the ground. That's 8th nationally, surrendering only 18 points per game. The Bears' defensive front is anchored by linebacker Andrew Zock, who has 2.5 tackles for a loss per game. That is extraordinary. The secondary features ballhawk Miles Weston. Offensively, Mercer relies on a versatile playmaker Braden Smith, who leads the conference in 150 all-purpose yards per game as a receiver. He's also a kick returner and punt returner, complemented by running back C.J. Miller's 52 rushing yards. The Bears' special teams advantage comes from kicker Reese Griffith, who's got 2 field goals, 80% accuracy. Punter John McConnell has kicking the ball almost 46.3 yards per punt. That means he can flip the field if necessary, because the offense from Mercer hasn't really been all that strong. So the Citadel counters with the nation's most disciplined approach, leading the FCS with just 2.3 penalties per game. They're always going to be disciplined there for the military academies. They have a disruptive front on defense. Chris Benton is recording 3 sacks per game. It's 5th nationally. He scored 2 defensive touchdowns already this season. The Bulldogs offense centered around the dual threat quarterback Kobe Tompkins. So receiver Javante Graves Billups is his top receiver. Both teams have navigated challenging schedules so far. This one is another SoCon matchup. Coach, I think, does it have implications for the top 25? No. Isn't it an intriguing matchup? Yes, because Mercer's got to have a win. Maurice Drayton has got that Citadel program playing extremely disciplined football, and this should be a fun matchup to watch if you like defensive type football.
Yeah, and if you look at that Cocaine Bears logo there, it looks like he's got the Citadel in his left eye.
He might. He
If you look,
might.
it looks like a little C right there in his left eye.
All right, let me pull that sucker back up.
Mercer's about to run into a buzzsaw.
Oh,
too.
dang, sure he does. Right
Yeah,
there.
I think he can see that tail whooping coming.
Hey, see,
I
got it.
Mercer should win the ball game, but they're about to run into a buzzsaw. Citadel is a tough place to play, and they got some
absolutely.
tough kids playing. You know that's going to be yes. They're playing up on top of a graveyard. That's going to have a whole lot of mess going on. It ought to be a good game, and it would not surprise me to see Citadel pull that one out.
No, me neither. I think Mike Jacobs is going to go in there and feel like this is a statement game for the Bears. And so I do think that Mercer's probably going to go in there and win. Wouldn't shock me one bit if the Citadel picks up a win. Honestly, it really wouldn't. All right, we're going to go back to Carrollton, Georgia. Coach, back-to-back home games for the number 22 West Georgia Wolves facing Eastern Kentucky Colonels going into Carrollton, Georgia. 6 p.m. ESPN Plus kickoff. This is a huge matchup for West Georgia. Getting into that UAC play, well, Eastern Kentucky struggled offensively, just get 14.7 points per game, but they've had some FBS opponents. Let's not get wrapped around the axle on that one. Quarterback Miles Burkett has 168 yards passing. Jordan Potts is there, also a quarterback there that's got 78 passing yards. Still figuring things out. The Colonels' ground game has been pretty ineffective despite Brandon Latham's efforts. Defensively, EKU has shown promise with standouts Jaheim Ward with 27 tackles, Caden Smith, also a playmaker, as well as Vito Tisdale. He's got 2 interceptions and 1 touchdowns. Then you look at the Wolves. They counter with an explosive offense, 34.3 points per game, 424 yards per game. Dual threat quarterback Davin Widener's got to throw the football better, but he has 6 touchdowns. It's got to limit those turnovers, Coach. Dynamic running back Latrell Murrell with 415 yards rushing, 142 yards receiving. The ground attack has been dominant with 238 yards on the ground. TJ Lester has 101 yards with 4 touchdowns. DeAndre Buchanan has 2 touchdowns as well, complimenting Murrell. So it's a 3-headed monster for the Wolves. Defensively has been equally impressive, just 14.7 points allowed by this Wolf squad. This is going to be a fun one, Coach, maybe for some in West Georgia, Carrollton, but I do believe Walt Wells is going to bring his team in there against Joel Taylor's Wolves, and think this is his opportunity to kind of take some momentum back here as the UAC conference schedule gets open.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I hate to say, and I'm ashamed to say it, but I won't make it to the game Saturday, so I have to watch that one on television. Interesting tidbit is West Georgia's starting tailback is TJ Lester, and his dad was Tim Lester, who played for the Steelers in the NFL and also is a legend at Eastern Kentucky.
How cool!
So, yeah. He had originally committed to Eastern Kentucky, but I think he wanted to stay a little closer to home, and made his choice to go to West Georgia. And he is a fantastic athlete. Again, I think it's kind of 2 mirror teams. Both defenses, I think, are pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't, offensively, and listen, Coach Taylor's a defensive coach. Walt Wells is a defensive-minded coach. So I expect both defenses to play well. It'll just depend on how the offenses adjust to the defenses. You was at the West Georgia game last week. They've got a couple of wide receivers that look the part. I will, Eastern has played a couple of FBS teams to kind of sharpen their tools. So I'm excited for, whatever the outcome. I'll say this, no matter what the outcome, neither one of those teams is out of the UAC.
Right.
The UAC, a lot of parity. So I think you'll see an extremely hard game played. I think you're going to see a lot of big hits, and I think it'll probably come down to the wire. I hate that I'm going to miss it.
Well, Brandon Haddock says West Georgia will come back to reality. Brandon, if you got a score prediction, let us know. We'd love to see it. So, I don't think that West Georgia is going to come back to reality. I think this is a good football program. I think they are going to face an Eastern Kentucky team that's listen, they faced ETSU last week. I put ETSU and EKU kind of on the same plane. So I think it's going to be a good matchup. If Devin Widener cannot limit his turnovers, by the way, he does not have a very strong arm. Mm-hmm. If you're Eastern Kentucky, I'm thinking 3-4, The run game's going to be there for and I don't know what the base defense is for Eastern Kentucky, but a 3-4 defense, nickel, whatever. But you'd protect the middle of the field. I think you're going to limit West Georgia. I don't think Davin Widener has the arm to throw a 30-yard pass that on a dime. Obviously, he can throw it, but it's going to be inconsistent. Secondary for Eastern Kentucky is pretty good. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, here I look at how games are in this particular case. I look how the game's kind of set up. So I think obviously pressure either bursts pipes or builds diamonds.
Right.
So West Georgia's coming in at 3-0. They're playing at home. It's their first UAC game. If Eastern Kentucky can get a turnover early, maybe a quick score early, maybe get up a couple of touchdowns early, it could steamroll a team like that. That's kind of the way that I would say it. I think there's a little more pressure on West Georgia because that in my mind they probably think they got to run the table to win the UAC. They're playing with a little more pressure than I think Eastern Kentucky's going to come in playing. Eastern Kentucky's the away team. They're going to travel down there. So if some things can go right for them, maybe the crowd in Carrollton kind of turns on West Georgia a little bit, and I think you're going to come down to a pressure situation.
I agree. Listen, 7 sacks, 8 forced turnovers by EKU's defense this season. That's your key to success if you're the Colonels. And Brandon says at 27-17. Yeah. Listen, I don't know if it's going to be that. I don't even know if it's going to be that high.
Yeah. I don't like the 17 part. I like, but I would probably go 17-14.
Okay.
For whoever wins, I have no idea, but I think it's going to be a defense. I think it's going to be more along the defensive lines than it is the offensive lines.
Yeah, and again, put pressure. Davin Widener is the fulcrum. You put pressure on him, or you allow him to excel. That's going to be the difference in the game, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah. I said we're going to go through these games faster. Somehow we've continued to get the analysis. Yeah. All right. Another one we got up next. This one I just put on here because Drake had such a good game against South Dakota State. I just want to put this one on here. It's at the Dakota Dome. They're 1-1. South Dakota Coyotes 1-2. This is 2 first-year head coaches, Coach Jackson, that I think that I don't know. It's kind of like what Drake did. Was that smoke and mirrors? Was South Dakota State trying to figure things out? Aiden Bauman, I think, is a problem for South Dakota right now because he's not playing well, but he's got the experience, and you probably don't have people he's been the QB1 for the last couple of years, and now you're trying to figure things out. Xavier Washington's the head coach, or is the quarterback for Drake. 68% pass completion, 239 yards. If Drake can find a way to attack this South Dakota offense, don't be surprised if Drake goes in there and picks up a win.
Well, listen, it's hard for me to pick any Canadian rapper as a winner. I think I think South Dakota's a little bit better than Drake. I don't know that it's going to get ugly on the scoreboard, but I think it's going to get ugly on the field.
Okay.
I don't think I don't think Drake. Listen, you'll need a BBL or whatever the.
Oh, careful, coach! Careful, coach! I don't know where you're going with that, but
that was the song BBL Drizzy or something like that.
Okay.
So I just don't see him. I don't see him staying with South Dakota.
Okay. I'm not saying I'm seeing. I can.
But I don't like Canadian rappers either.
Well. Wasn't it Seinfeld? Everyone loves the Drake cake thing?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Everybody loves the Drake.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying. Well, I don't know if I'm going to pick Drake to win. I'm just saying South Dakota has problems. They're ranked.
Yeah.
Zach McKinnell had a great breakdown of South Dakota. He said they're not in my top 25. Yeah. They have problems. Drake played South Dakota State extremely tough. Iron sharpens iron. losing sometimes is a catalyst for your program. I'm just saying, Coach. I'm just saying. All right. All right, let's go to Stephenville, Texas, where they do the two-step down there. Chattanooga is visiting the Tarleton State. What are they? Texans. They're 4-0, by the way. Mocs are 1-2 under Rusty Wright, and Todd Witten is the head coach there in Stephenville, Texas. The Mocs bring a balanced offensive attack, 30 points per game, 348 yards on the ground. They have the number 17 ranked ground attack, almost 200 yards rushing per game, Coach. Camden Orth has their starting quarterback, 4 touchdowns passing, 3 touchdowns on the ground. He directs that offense with a 300 rushing attack of Ryan Ingram and Justice Durant and Journey Weish. Explosive receiver Markel Quick has 2 touchdowns. He's got big play potential in the passing game and in returns, by the way. Defensively, the Mocs have allowed 30 points per game. That's way too many. With their pass defense at 196 yards per game, they are a particular strength. That's 4th in the Southern Conference. Tarleton State counters with a dominant team, ranked 3rd nationally in both scoring and scoring defense, while leading the FCS with a +3 turnover margin. Quarterback Victor Gabales has an exceptional throwing has the season with 776 yards, 11 touchdowns, has not thrown an interception, distributing the ball to wide receivers like Peyton Kramer and Trevon West and Dawson Hearn. The ground game features dynamic duo of Trey Page III, that kid. I like the kid already just because his roster photo. And Caleb Lewis, he's got 6 touchdowns on the ground. Texans defense is nearly impenetrable with a 10 points per game standing, leading the FCS with 9 interceptions. Chattanooga's got a big task in front of them, Coach Jackson.
Listen, I want Chattanooga to win. I like to drop names. I coached a kid, Devin Lively. He plays center for Chattanooga, and I want them to win. It'd be great for the UAC if Chattanooga wins, but they are about to get smoked. And when they travel to Stevensville, Texas, they are in for a treat. You're going to see a lot of line dances. Everybody, boys and girls, everybody there is named Tyler. So, get that figured out when you get there. You're going to have a lot of good food. The Plowboys, I expect them to be in full effect. Last time I was there was about 30 of them.
Nice.
They're dudes dressed in. They got a big drum, or not a trash can that they beat. Dude, they're right behind the visiting team's stands too, so they're very intimidating. They'll take you focus off the game, but I don't think there's going to be much focus on the game either. I think Tarleton rolls.
All right, we're going to go through the last couple games pretty quickly. Number 24, Sacramento State, don't know how, featured against Central Arkansas. This is at Sacramento State. Nathan Brown needs a win for his program. Brennan Marion trying to put together that go-go offense there for Sacramento State. Coach Jackson, 9 p.m. ESPN Plus at Hornet Stadium. What you got?
That's a tough trip for Central Arkansas. I don't see them faring very well. I wish them luck. Safe travels there, safe travels back, but I think they're going to bring an L back with them.
All righty. Let's see. I have made a mistake here somewhere. Okay, so the next game we have somehow, some way, is Austin Peay and Abilene Christian. I don't have the preview screen up for some reason. It's messed up, so I'm not going to pull it up. But Jeff Ferris for Austin Peay doing some big things there. A lot of people think this Austin Peay program is up and coming. Keith Patterson, love what he's doing there at Abilene Christian. Should be a tough matchup. It's the top of the alphabet game there. It's Austin Peay and Abilene Christian right there. The Governors at 2-1. And the Wildcats. This should be an interesting matchup, Coach. Thoughts on this? Ferris versus Patterson. Austin Peay, Abilene Christian. It is in Texas at Abilene Wildcat Stadium.
It's the senior citizens game, so let's go Peay. It's going to be a great game. It's 2 great coaches. Jeff Ferris is a young guy who's really pumped in some energy into the Austin Peay thing. Abilene Christian's got a great team. You know what? It's a toss-up. I don't know who wins. I would give I guess I'd give the advantage to the home team, and I think Austin Peay's going out to Abilene to play, but it's going to be another great game, and you're going to see some fantastic athletes out there too. Austin Peay is Yeah, they
Their
got a good
defense is good.
defense is good. They got a
Yeah.
good defense. Yeah, it's a toss up. It'd be a treat to watch.
So they're allowing 16 points per game. They're putting up 30 points per game for Austin P. Abilene Christian has got a Stone Earl back. You know, he transferred out and then came back. He's their quarterback. He's got a 70% completion percentage, actually 71% completion percentage. The run game is it's kind of non-existent right now, so they got to find a way to overcome that. Defensively, let me see. Third down conversions on defense. They're tough. They're tough,
Yeah.
and Austin P is too. So it should be a good matchup. Let's go ahead and talk about our game picks. I'll get the game picks from Brandon here shortly. We'll go through these real quick. Like, by the way, I was 12-1 last week. Doink. And you were the one, the lone pick for SIU last week. So we both picked West Georgia. I picked Elon over Western Carolina. You were 10-2. Brandon was 9-3. So let's go ahead and go Youngstown State and Towson, Coach.
I'm going with the leaning wise. Give me Youngstown.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Towson in this one. I think that the home field is very, very tough, although I like what Doug Phillips is doing there. Nova and Monmouth.
Man, that's a tough one. You know what? I'm going to go with Monmouth. Monmouth's got them at home. I'm going with Monmouth.
3-0 scares me because it's always like you mention it and then they get, but I'm going to go with Monmouth, 3-0, picking up the win. UNH and Dartmouth, I think we're both on the New Hampshire train there.
Yeah.
Southern Utah and UC Davis, Coach. I'm going to go with Delane Fitzgerald, and I think they need it more. Kind of like what you said. UC Davis is still trying to figure things out, and I think the offense for Southern Utah puts up enough points.
Yep, I agree with you. I'm going with Southern Utah.
Wow. Okay. UIW and NAU.
Give me NAU.
Dang it.
Yeah, give me. They're gonna drop the axe on the bird.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Northern Arizona as well. Stony Brook, Lindenwood. I'm going with the Lions, Coach.
Yeah, I'm going with the Seawolves. I think they're a little too. Anyway, I ain't gonna explain. I'm going with Seawolves.
SIU and SEMO.
That's the one that I hate. Golly, I'm going against the home team. I'm going with Southern Illinois.
Dang it, Coach! I'm going with Southern Illinois too. All right, we're in simpatico right now.
Yeah.
Mercer and Citadel.
I'm gonna go with the Citadel.
All right, we're different
Mercer
there.
having
I'm with
travel
Mercer.
all the way up there, I'm going with the Citadel.
EKU and West Georgia. You hadn't got a chance to pick EKU games over the last couple of years because your son played there. We kind of avoided that. But you okay with picking this one?
No, because he coaches there now.
All right, so I'm gonna say West Georgia picks up the win. That's just my thoughts. I'm gonna put a blank on you. And
But you know what? I tell you what. I have to pick EKU.
Yeah, go with EKU.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad pick, by the way. I think Walt Wells is in desperate for a win. Drake and South Dakota, Coach. I'm going with the Cakes. Give me Drake.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're going with Drake. 'Cause I will not be going with Drake. I don't think. I think South Dakota figures it out.
We'll see. Chattanooga and Tarleton State.
Dude, that's going to be about 63-7.
All right, we got the Tarts.
Let me have the Plowboys.
Central Arkansas and Sac State. I don't like this one.
I don't either. Is it at Sac State?
It is at Hornet Stadium.
That's a tough trip out to California from Central Arkansas. Let me have Sacramento State.
Yeah, I'm going with Sacramento State as well. They've kind of putting that offense together, so we'll see. Austin P and Abilene Christian. I love what Keith Patterson's doing there with Abilene Christian. I just think Austin P's defense is going to be too much. Give me the Govs.
You ever met Keith Patterson?
Yeah, we talked to him. We had him on the show a couple of times. Super nice guy. He didn't get his
What
first
a
head.
nice- You can't hardly pick against him. He's such a nice guy.
I think he was 53 years old, and he's his first chance at being a head coach. And he, you know what? The reality was he was so humble about the opportunity. He just exudes that passion for football and those athletes. Love what he's doing there, but I'm picking against him. He's going to lose this weekend.
Yeah, he's the absolute perfect coach for Abilene Christian. Unfortunately, Jeff Ferris is probably the perfect coach for Austin Peay, and I'm going with the Governors too. I think they pull away late.
All right, Coach. That is it. Wow, an hour and 34 minutes. I didn't mean to go that long, keep you, Coach, but great talk. We talked about feet. I'm going to recommend not putting foot shavings in your coffee or hiding it from your wife.
Well, they go in her coffee. She drinks that. Next week, I'll tell you the story about how I killed my brother's dog when he was little. So.
Haven't we had enough death in this podcast? We talked about it. Hey, thank you guys so much. Brandon Haddock, you've been an awesome guest here in our chat. Thank you so much. Maybe we'll have you on the podcast and join the chat, the conversation. If you do like the content, please like and subscribe on YouTube. Hit the notification bell. It is all free, and it gives us a chance to see who's watching and get subscriptions. If we can monetize this channel, we'll actually have some giveaways and some of that great stuff as well. We do this because we love FCS football. There's a lot to love, and there's a lot of great games this weekend. Coach, final thoughts?
You know what? It's another great weekend of football. What else could you ask for this time of year? Great weather, great game.
Amen. All right. Well, if you're traveling anywhere or doing anything, just watching football, be safe. Enjoy the tailgate food. Enjoy the FCS football. For Coach Jackson, I'm Nathan McCreary. Brandon Joseph couldn't be here, but we say so long from him as well as the FCS Checkdown. Let's go.